What's going on, Reject Nation? We're gonna watch The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 4 today. Now, before we go into this reaction, I did want to give you guys a heads up that tomorrow I'm gonna be putting up a very special video. It's a huge announcement. Trust me, you're gonna want to tune in, especially if you've been a fan of this channel for a while. So make sure to subscribe and click that notification bell to get notified when that video is up. Can't wait for you guys to see it. It's something that's near and dear to my heart. It's big. If you end up enjoying this reaction, make sure to hit that like button. The full-length reaction watch along where you sync up with the time code for The Mandalorian is all over at our Patreon page. We're over there. We do plenty of TV shows. We're at the same tier. We have the option for reaction highlights and watch along included. Our good buddy Eric over at Nerd Chronic has been editing these for us. Thank you so much. Please give him a follow today. Recently edited my Clone Wars series finale reaction at the last minute. He's a wonderful editor and just a great dude overall, so he's earned a follow. Give him a follow today. Anywho, let's swing into action, people. Ooh, including Werner Herzog. Oh, very cool!
Oh, very cool! Oh, we almost missed it.
Put the red one where the blue one was. No, hold them apart.
No! No!
It's that 420 Mando video that IGN put out. Oh, the Marshal. She's a Marshal now.
Ooh.
Oh, smart. What a unique way to deflect.
Yeah. Human shield.
Nice.
How's my credit already?
Butch. Dylan.
You son of a bitch.
Wherever I go, he goes.
Mando, please.
He'll be fine.
Yoda's gonna.
You have my word.
Baby Yoda's gonna have some education.
He's gonna learn. Maybe be able to communicate.
Those macaroons?
They look exactly like macaroons.
Aww. How could you reject the little guy? It's real, like, Amblin Entertainment vibe about that scene.
Yeah.
How long is this gonna take?
You're lucky I even packed it at all.
Dank Ferrick.
What about the cruiser?
I'm sure they'll have other options in there.
It's a mint Trexler Marauder. You know how much we can get for this on the black market?
And that's what they're gonna escape in.
There you go.
Which shot goes in the thumbnail? Oh snap! In the trailers, they would always show that image, but you never saw Mithril there.
Yeah.
Destroy it!
No.
Oh snap!
Oh, you're hiding something.
What the?
This is a lab.
Oh.
We need to get into the system and figure out what's going on.
That's where they wanted to take Baby Yoda.
Oh.
I think. That's all I guess.
I can certainly know, yeah.
But that would make
If
sense,
they're doing
right?
weird bio experiments, yeah.
I highly doubt we'll find a donor with a higher M count, though.
Midichlorians?
I will not disappoint you again. Moff Gideon.
Oh.
If Gideon's alive, then
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh
no,
shit!
No.
Oh. Snap, dude. There's so much action in this episode. Superhero landing?
Yeah.
This is like classic Star Wars lines.
And that sound quality too. Ooh. Woo!
Oh no, oh whoa, she gonna go that way? Oh, we're in for a sweet chase. Oh!
Ow.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Speeder bike chase, baby.
Oh.
Wow. How great that was. Oh my god! You're halfway down, dude. Woo! I got one. Boom!
Oh. Oh no.
Yes!
Come on, my dude.
Blast him!
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh no.
Do they know that Baby Yoda's back on Navarro? Dude, if you could take out 4 TIE fighters.
You will be a legend.
Yeah, man. From the ground.
Yeah.
Shit.
Ugh. God, the sounds. Classic sounds. No.
Boom.
Oh. Oh no.
Holy moly. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, my dude.
Come on, kid.
I still got the macaroons.
Macaroons. Just enjoying the show. I love those locked off mounted shots.
Yeah. Of all the modern sci-fi. Ah! Oh. Yeah.
Wow, man. The action in this episode is so good. Oh my god, they're playing chicken.
Oh, the Razor Crest is back.
Not too bad, huh, kid?
He's gonna throw up the
Oh.
The device has been planted as you requested.
Damn it.
You will be well rewarded in the new era.
Is that?
That's the repair guy.
The tracking beacon has been installed on the Razor Crest.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Ooh,
they-
for all out chaos.
Oh, no. No.
Wow. Way to go, Carl Weathers. That was great.
Done, Carl Weathers.
That was a wonderful episode. There's so much information. Just enough to keep it very mysterious at the same
exactly.
Because the Persian guy said he drew blood from the child, and he said M count, which I'm assuming are midichlorian count. And and then they said like the body rejected it.
Yeah, whatever they were testing it on didn't take it.
Was it those people in the tank? Was it?
That's what I would assume, or at least
Was it
somebody
Palpatine?
akin to, yeah. Are they making Palpatines right now, or are they making Snokes?
Yeah. I mean, in the way how Clone Wars made I think a lot of people made the prequels better. Maybe
Maybe this will make
this
the
will make
sequels better. Maybe the
sequels
entire
better.
achievement of the Mandalorian series is to just make the sequels better. I mean, it certainly seems like they've added in some things that directly benefited the sequels.
Yeah, we'll have to go back to that after. I was really impressed with the way he handled his direction.
Yeah.
Every director this season is really like knocking it out of the park.
Yeah, man.
All brought their own flair. All right, let's talk about it. Okay, so there's actually kind of a lot here to sort of unpack. I mean, I want to talk about the filmmaking, and I also obviously want to talk about some things that could lead to some huge reveals. My take on this, especially that scene with Dr. Pershing, you see those scientists there who are wearing outfits that are similar to what he wore as well in the first season. My take on this is that this is starting to tie more into the sequels now, whereas this show before was normally tie-ins to like as we saw in the last episode, Clone Wars, or to the classic films, prior installments, what have you. My interpretation of what they're talking about seems like they're tying it kind of closer into some revelations that we got in Rise of Skywalker specifically, which I find interesting because I was under the impression they're kind of just ignoring that, other than teasing and setting up some building to getting the First Order included in here. He mentions M-Count, which has to be the midichlorians. From my recollection, the Snokes were clones. The Emperor is a clone in Rise of Skywalker, but in order to make a clone body force sensitive, they have to have a midichlorian count as well. Yeah. It seems like Baby Yoda, or whatever his real name is, force-sensitive child, has a midichlorian count in him, a really high one. So maybe this is like the creation of Snoke that we're first going to start seeing.
That's what my mind flashed directly to.
That's what it looked like
Yeah.
at first.
I was like, they're trying to they're experimenting on bodies suspended in liquid, and they're trying to tap, the force sensitivity being compatible with that. It certainly sounds like, the early stages of endless supplies of Dark Lords.
We're going to start getting some real tie-ins to the rise of the First Order, even setting up a little bit with Cara Dune there. I mean, when she's asked about, did you lose anyone to Alderaan? I'm like, I thought, wasn't Alderaan obliterated? It was destroyed. So I'm like, I feel like anyone from Alderaan probably lost someone, didn't
any
they?
time on Alderaan, yeah.
It seemed like they were teasing that she might even join the New Republic. The biggest takeaway I got was like, okay, that seems to be the main use of why they've been trying to hunt down Baby Yoda specifically, is so they can take out the midichlorians from him. But does that mean Baby Yoda's gonna die? It seems like it's inevitable that he's gonna die, because clearly in the sequel films, they succeed. They succeed with the cloning process. He has to die eventually.
Either that, or we find eventually where he came from, and that there are maybe a few more or something.
Take
but,
this one.
Well, but in finding and discovering a lost place, you can also lead people to it, So
Yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily jump directly, although at the same time, with the rarity of that species within the series, I certainly wouldn't just put that dread aside, especially with how tenacious they are about catching him.
Yeah.
Moff Gideon has the Darksaber now. Yes, very much still out there. I mean, we saw at the end of the episode, he's got like a whole setup of new troopers ready to go.
And those troopers, I thought they were death troopers, but for some reason they read to me as some type of android trooper. If you guys know, please if you guys have a clue as to who they might be, please let me know in the comments, because I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it felt like, we just built these, soldiers that will...
Yeah.
It felt like one of those things where we're building an unstoppable army of either clones or robots or something.
They felt more droid-like. The way they were working on them and how they were hooked up, they didn't seem like they were sentient beings necessarily. They felt different. So yeah, there's a lot of Star Wars-y things to grab from here of how they're linking towards Disney sequels, and I'd be cool with that. I feel like some fans probably would hate that, because I think they just want those to be ignored. But at the end of the day, I don't think they're gonna be ignored. And Mandalorian is as much as Mandalorian is more of a pure Star Wars story than maybe the Disney sequels are. Those are still, Mandalorian is still a Disney produced property. I think they're gonna want to tie it in. It doesn't matter. And I feel like in the end, it could perhaps even make those sequels better, which is what I'm hoping for. Kind of like what I said with Clone Wars about Clone Wars makes the prequels better.
Well, that's one of the nice things about the media ecosystem of Star Wars, and that's what I guess I hope for with this, if they're going to do things that harken to the sequels, because if, you think back to season 1, they bring up Baby Yoda's ability to heal with the Force around the same time that the Rise of Skywalker dropped. So as to kind of, not that they did that to explain, but at the same time, in the public eye, it feels that way.
Yeah.
And so, I hope that these corners of the world that relate directly to the sequels, naturally part of fleshing out the overall world, and less sort of a damage control retroactively.
Yeah.
Because also, it doesn't serve you to do that. That just keeps the wound open,
And there were some design aesthetics, because this show normally feels like classic Star Wars, but there are some things with the production design that at times felt like it was starting to merge a little bit more with what the First Order might appear as. So I really do feel like this is what we're getting, the early stages, the conception of that.
This is how the First Order rises after we've already had an experience like the Empire.
Putting that aside, I do want to talk about the filmmaking, because Carl Weathers, I'm not, let me do a quick IMDb search. I want to know if he's directed anything else. Okay, so he's directed a bunch of other TV shows, but Mandalorian's is an exception, because from my understanding with The Mandalorian, the directors get a lot more creative freedom than most television shows. It's like, yes, you got to work within the confines of making sure the storytelling's on par and, proper connectivity and stuff. You can't just Rian Johnson it. But in terms of how you want to direct your episode or capture it, I hear that the directors get a lot more creative freedom in how they want to go about it. And I was very impressed with how he did this one. It goes without saying, the visual effects are once again top notch. I thought he captured the mood perfectly and the suspenseful buildup. And there were times where there's a little bit, I don't know if the right word's tongue-in-cheek, but there's some elements that feel like they harken back to a little bit more of a classic action movie from the 80s or 90s. Certain mood tone pieces, especially like with Cara Dune's first scene. That's an airborne gotta go back to Star Wars talking. The armorer wasn't there, and the mythosaur skull wasn't there either. So where did the armorer go off to? Yeah, which I'm sure we'll have to get around to, because it was
see them again.
It was being raided, and it didn't look like the people, those creatures, whose name I don't know, but those creatures, it didn't look like they had the mythosaur skull. I am assuming, considering how important and significant that mythosaur skull is.
It seemed like they were scavenging rather than they took it by force or something.
Yeah. I mean, an armor could easily fend them off. That action scene, and then certain other earmarks of the dynamics of the dialogue, it's kind of felt like classical action to me, of like an 80s or 90s movie. But I thought his build was so well done. Like, you could always feel that there's something ramping up, and it kept getting bigger. It starts off with, you're fighting some stormtroopers there. Mando escapes, jets off, and they break out with the ship, and then speeder bikes, then TIE fighters, then Razor Crest, battling TIE fighters. And I thought the way he captured aerial shots, the way he captured on the ground speeder bike chase sequence was awesome. Like, he really brought a fresh spin here on action sequences for The Mandalorian. And to me, this is some of the best action The Mandalorian has ever produced. And I feel like Carl Weathers knocked it out of the park here.
For all the freedom, you also get the extra bump in resources, I feel like, coming out of most regular TV to something like The Mandalorian. What you're really doing is making a 40-minute feature film, basically. Yeah. And so, yeah, to see Carl Weathers be able to bring some of that sensibility that, you know, I mean, from films like Predator and all sorts of action roles, like, to be able to see him then take those years of expertise and sculpt this episode that, yeah, has a lot of those really fun Mandalorian just character moments, but then some really dazzling action with, again, yeah, when that, I was really gripped, especially by that one descending shot of the speeder bikes when the two guys crash into each other. Like, there's a lot of happenstance too in this episode that felt very natural and very much like that Western. Again, just keeping the consistency up with the tone. And that's the thing, is that's what's impressive, I think, especially about having so many different directors, many of them coming from an acting background or other backgrounds than just this kind of filmmaking, who are able to, you know, put their stamp on these pieces, but also keep this flow.
You really get that feel of a small group pulling off a really hard mission, and then what goes wrong during that mission.
And walking into a situation that's way bigger than they initially thought it was. Especially, like, I love the centerpiece when they get into the room with the experiments in it, and they're all realizing how much deeper this goes. You know, the whole, like, this isn't a military vessel, this is a lab.
Yeah, this isn't just some place that got to blow up. There are people operating out of here.
Yeah.
And I thought Horatio Sands, Mythrol, bringing him back here was great. I thought he was funnier and like more enjoyable than he was in the first season. And speaking of which, this is a return to Navarro. So in a lot of ways, it's a return to the first episode. You bring back Mythrol. You're seeing how Navarro has changed so much. Whereas the first time you check in with Navarro, it feels very desolate, scum. You know, it feels like downtrodden, poverty-stricken,
forgotten by the universe,
ruled by gangs. You know, it has that kind of slum vibe. Where here you first check in, it's like bright, it's beautiful, it's colorful,
it's bustling. You know,
they've
got energy.
Exactly. They've shifted that bar into a school for children. I got to go back and see what that protocol droid was talking about, because I'm like, I bet there's something there that I missed.
Oh yeah,
or maybe I'll just wait for New
Rockstar's
Rockstar's video. Just wait for him.
I don't know what the correspondence, the letters.
I was trying to like hear him, like, what is that protocol droid talking about?
What outline areas?
I heard something about Outer Rim, I think. Yeah, I want to go back and listen to that, but seeing how much Navarro has changed. But then again, with his direction, it's bright and beautiful, and then they're talking about how there's parts of the Imperial Army that are still here on Navarro. They're the last shred, and then you start traveling, and it just gets more gloomy and gray and disgusting and desolate and abandoned. Chasing back. It's trying to get back to the good side of town.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
And then they win. It's like when they win, when Razor Crest Mando takes out the last TIE fighters, it's back in a beautiful, sunshiny kind of light.
Yeah.
You know, like the light side wins this battle today.
Yeah.
You know?
So, visual storytelling, Carl Weathers.
I thought he did a great job here. There's a lot to unpack here. And yeah, you actually get a better sense of what the Mandalorian show is really all about in terms of tying it into the bigger part of the Star Wars universe as well, which is what we've all been sort of expecting season 2 to go about and do. I'm happy with it. I love this one. I thought this was a really solid, really rock'em sock'em episode with some exceptional action for the series.
Yeah, and macaroons are now canon.
Macaroons, blue macaroons.
Blue Max.
Blue milk, blue Max.
Yeah, dunk 'em. It's the perfect blue snacks right there.
All right, guys, well, what's your interpretation off of what we saw in that experimental room? Leave your thoughts down below. Subscribe to The Real Rejects. Click that notification bell. Keep a lookout for that video on Sunday that I'm going to put up, which should be tomorrow. Last but not least, let's do a... Daniel Gallagher. I just wanted to tell you today, you've been part of our Patreon page pretty much since the beginning. And with it being Thanksgiving season, you're someone who I'm extremely grateful to have in our lives. I don't know too many people who are as loyal as you to us, so I appreciate the sense of loyalty. You might not even be able to have the time to check out our videos because of how busy your life can be, or even our Patreon videos, or even message me back from time to time because of how time-consuming everything is you have going on in your life. Yet, you've never left our Patreon page. You've always shown your support. You've always stayed pledged. That level of support really does not go unnoticed. So thank you so much for being you, dude. It's been like a couple years you've been with us now, and I'll forever be grateful for the man, the Scottish pharmacist, Daniel Gallagher. Thank you, dude.
Thanks, buddy.